Hey everyone, my name is Andres, and I am going to be talking about Star Ocean 5 today. A lot of you are fans of Star Ocean 5, and some of you may know me as I love Star Ocean 2 from GameFAQs. I've been in the boards for pretty much a long time. With my current account, I've been there since 2003, and in my account prior, which I had a slight typo in there. Some of you may know me as ILSO2, with the S stand for SAR. But anyways, to begin, I'd like to just give a warm thanks to Triace and Square Enix for making that attempt now to come out with the new Star Ocean. I'm sure a lot of the fans of Star Ocean 5 are very grateful and very excited for what's to come for this series. And hopefully, with enough fans, we can make the next installment of Star Ocean 6. Primarily, I'd like to talk about the importance of a couple of things that I saw in the other games that I wish that this game took, and I'm going to be adding to this video because there's just so many ideas that we can come up with on how to make and perfect the game really to how the fans would like it. And it would be great if the developers hear this. It would be great if someone from a standpoint of being able to take action and make changes would hear this and perhaps implement some of these ideas. I'm sure a lot of the fans of Star Ocean would love to see some of these ideas come to fruition. So I'm just going to talk about a few here. That way we can go ahead and pretty much get this all taken care of. So for the first point, let's go ahead and talk about the proficiency system. Now, the proficiency system can be seen in Star Ocean 2, 3, and 4, respectively, because really 3 is 2, is 3 is 4, 4 is 5, and this will actually be the sixth installment if you include Blue Sphere, which they tend to not, but then that's okay because it'll cause a little bit of a turbulence on the understanding of how the Star Ocean world works. Well, the proficiency system is something that where you use a move often enough, you upgrade it and it becomes nicer, becomes better looking. It becomes maybe more strategic in its approach. A lot of moves that we saw in Star Ocean 2 that you can see a significant change would be the flamethrower for Chisato. Chisato's flamethrower began as a direct forward hit of like multiple hits, chaining of just a bunch of hits, and then it increased to more hits, and eventually it increased to a certain kind of like a mortar device that's thrown up in the air and then falls on the enemy, and it was still good. So these changes that occurred with Chisato's moves, in my opinion, for this particular move, I wasn't in agreement with. But for the most part, the moves do change as you use them, and they upgrade as you use them, the more you use them. And a lot of them, they get better. And it was very pronounced in Star Ocean 2. Not so much in Star Ocean 3, and definitely not in Star Ocean 4. So I would like to see that proficiency upgrade in Star Ocean 5. Star Ocean 5, I think, as we all know, has seamless battles. I am waiting to see what they did with that. How exactly did they manage to get all of the concepts and all of the camera angles, all of the dynamics, really, of the battle system and incorporate it into a seamless battle? We don't want to lose that explosion that Star Ocean series has had with their battle system. Their battle system is their gem. Their battle system is their glory, really. I mean, that's where the fans are hooked, and that's what we love so much about Star Ocean. It's the outside of the norm battle system where we're not taking turns to attack the monster. We are actually working in a real-time environment and in this case, up until now, has always been in a battle screen, which every time you touch a monster, it'll take you to another screen, and then you battle it. Well, Star Ocean 5 wants to change that. They want to make sure that when you are in the game and you are now fighting this monster without having to go to a screen, I need them, and we all need them, to make sure that it incorporates all of the dynamics, that explosiveness that it had, always going at it and that strategy that we had to use in order to be able to get that entertainment that Star Ocean was able to deliver. Of course, if the upgrades, for example, may come from maybe adding more accessories to your weapon, that'd be perfect. I mean, there could be plenty of other ways that the proficiency system in Star Ocean 2 would translate into different systems that would equal the same concept. Another thing that I'd like to see, and this one's a big one, and I can't stress how important this is to reduce any damage caps. Damage caps were in Star Ocean 2 were present, and in Star Ocean 4 were present. And some people say, oh, but in Star Ocean 4 you can reach 99,999 hit points without a problem. That's true. However, if you notice, and the best example I can give is with Rainy and her Savage Sparrows. Savage Sparrows with a full-blown I can't recall the names of the actual bow and arrows, but her bow and arrow, her best bow and arrow that's available in the game, together with the highest attack upgrades that were there, plus an attack up. No matter if you took out, let's say, half of the factors of the attack upgrades on her weapon, it would deal the same damage. So if I was to do, for example, 25,000 hit points per arrow in her Savage Sparrows, even if I added +4, it would still do 25,000 damage in her Savage Sparrows, and that's what I saw was a big downfall. I love to see those 99,999 damage hits all the time. Star Ocean 2 also had it. They had it at 9,999, and that's probably because in Star Ocean 2 it was a little bit different. It was back in the era where that was normal, and it didn't really break off of the actual norm that it was at that time. But and something to counter that, which I do see is important as well, is moves like Chisato's Tear Gas. It's that multi-hit, explosiveness that occurs when just consecutive hits are done by one move, and all you hear is those little dings and dongs from all the skills you used in order to obtain that particular damage that you did. And Tear Gas, I think, hit like, I don't even know, like maybe 45 times. And if you can get it to do 9,999 damage every time, you had a monster of a move in order to damage these enemies. And I would like to see that. I don't want to see a damage cap. I saw it in Star Ocean 4 when I realized that no matter how much I gave over to Rainy and every other character, really, it would always do the same damage, and those damage caps need to go away, because when you're fighting Ethereal Queen and you're fighting Unlimited Indalecio, you don't want to see those damage caps because of how difficult these bosses are, especially if you're playing them on a solo mode, or if you're playing them without any, maybe with some type of handicap that you placed in order to make it a little more challenging. Now, another thing I noticed, with all of the Star Ocean games, it's great to see all these moves, and they're great and they're awesome, but a lot of the best special moves that these characters either have to find in a dungeon, or they have to find within a particular, within their actual moves that they receive throughout the game, the last ones that they get are not the best ones, and that's kind of disappointing because you, let's say for example, Ripper Blast for Claude. When in Star Ocean, the second story, there was a character named Claude. He's the main character. He had a move called Ripper Blast, and Ripper Blast was at first started off as, he would throw down his sword and a little mountain would come up and it would damage the enemy. And then eventually, as you upgraded it through proficiency, the mountain would increase in size. It got to the point that it was so ridiculous when he would use his move, it would cover like a maybe like a sixth of the screen, which is a lot for one character, the best character, who moves really fast and was able to do this in a quick succession. Now, that was one of his best moves, and he got it during the middle of the game. You probably got it during the time of the Hoffman Ruins, which was the first time I got it when I first played the game. And then you would see moves like Mirror Slice, and Mirror Slice was a good move. It was not a bad move, but when you play the game very often and you start to, beat the higher bosses, you start to realize that Mirror Slice is not the best idea. Another disappointing thing was realizing that the best move at the end of the game of Star Ocean 2 was actually just his normal slash with an angel armband, Slayer ring, and probably some type of berserker ring or whatnot. Now, this is the type of stuff that I think the game should avoid. They should make the special move the best move. Make it the greatest, most explosive, most damaging, most star hitting. I don't even like, make it so incredible that we can't even put a word to it. And I think that's important for the growth of the series, really, because you don't want to make the special move some inferior to maybe just the basic attack. I mean, that order is not correct, and it's something that I didn't notice would require probably some work on, and I do hope that they're able to get those things in order for this game. Crystal Board was from part 4 was fantastic. I think the Crystal Board added a lot of different flavors to the game, maybe as flavorful as this Bumblebee tuna sandwich that I have in front of me, trying to resist eating on the camera. And basically, this particular idea is stemming from the fact that the particular crystals that would light up would depend on what you did throughout the battle. If you hit them with a certain move, a certain crystal would light up and it would give you a bonus at the end of the game. Maybe a little bit of health, maybe you get more experience, maybe you get more full. And basically the crystal would deteriorate while you were hurt. So you had to play strategic. If you wanted to keep the crystals in your crystal board, you had to make sure that you evaded a lot, perhaps build up the crystal board and then using a mage in order to evade, and using a mage in order to just heal your party and evade any direct attacks, since it could be worn out by a critical hit by an enemy. And I think it's a great idea, but I do think it needs to be a lot bigger, because when it comes to leveling up and all these other, and gaining a lot of experience and full, it becomes crucial that you go ahead and you're able to farm a lot more with it. In Star Ocean 2, there were ways to farm for money in full, but that was towards the end of the game. If you want to make it a more natural way of getting all that into the actual main game, would probably be using the crystal board in order to do so. The crystal board, I think, is an upgrade to Star Ocean 3, where Star Ocean 3, to get full from Star Ocean 3, it was just going back and forth and back and forth, and it was a lot harder to get all that money in Star Ocean 3, because it's not so much about getting the money in Star Ocean 3, it's about how much money you would waste when you're using item creation in Star Ocean 3. Star Ocean 3's item creation, I think, is the most advanced. It was so advanced that they didn't even have names for the items that you would create. Eventually, they all became like robot items, like R001, R4002, and I kind of weighed down on the game a little bit, because I it's kind of like, oh, whatever, just give them the names that the computer generates, and we'll just leave it at that, because we're not going to make a name for everything that these players decide to make. And I think that, that's probably another thing that they can improve on. Well, anyways, I think those are the 4 things that I'm most excited to see improved. I have so many more. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can subscribe. I'm going to be making a little bit more, and if I see that there's a high response rate, and I do hope you all have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, or wherever you are in the world, that have a great day, I guess, and have a great evening, and see you all later.